So guys, spring has finally arrived and I'm so excited because now we can be out in the gardens here at Lily Brook and working on some projects that we have been wanting to get done all winter long. It's about 66 here today and really sunny. You couldn't tell by me squinting. My eyes are very sensitive to the sun. But one of the projects that we're going to be working on is this labyrinth or walled garden. And I will admit that it is one of the most eccentric projects we've done so far on our property. If you haven't seen how we turned our gross, broken down in-ground pool that we inherited when we bought this place into a sunken garden, be sure to check that out on my channel. I think it may give you some inspiration on how to think outside the box in your gardens. That not everybody would want to build a labyrinth or a walled garden in their backyard, but I am going to say that you worked so hard for your home and your property that use your imagination, let it run wild, and make it a place that you and your family just love, no matter what your style is. I tend to like some formal with a lot of magical. I did love the labyrinth growing up, what am I gonna say? But I really wanted it to be a place that our whole family could just feel like we stepped away from the world when we're in our gardens and we're in this magical place, especially for my son. He's 6, and so I wanted him to grow up somewhere where he could use his imagination. And so this project, amongst others, was born. But the thing I wanted to say too was that, you know, back in the day, in the 1800s, long before we had television to watch at night, people wandered through their gardens for relaxation and enjoyment. And I think they were on to something there, because when I'm in my garden, I have such a sense of peace, tranquility, and excitement and joy. It really makes me feel connected to Mother Nature and to myself. And so when we toured some gardens in Europe, we saw both sunken gardens and walled gardens. But of course, the walled gardens were made of yews mostly, which would be expensive for this huge of a spot and take a really long time to grow. And so what we did here was, you can sort of see it already, and I will walk you through in just a moment, but we started with this lattice. And our plan is that we're going to grow vines up all of the walls of this labyrinth walled garden, however you want to call it. Depends on the day. Sometimes we call it the labyrinth, some days we call it the walled garden. So we're going to grow this up. It's going to be a wall of green, okay? And the doors behind me actually each weigh about 250 pounds. They were handmade by my husband, and then we had to hoist them up here and hang them. So they're pretty special. I'm really hoping you guys would consider subscribing so you can see how we make progress on this. I'm hoping that it will be done this year by the end of the garden season. So there's several rooms inside that are all going to have gardens and flowers inside, and there's actually a room that's an orchard. So we have all different types of fruit trees in there. Again, I'm going to plant all those vines up the sides so you can watch us do that. And put all the finishing touches. We are going to be putting water features in here. So it's going to be a lot of work, and I'm excited to take you guys along for this process because it is different, right? Like, I don't think anybody necessarily builds a giant walled garden in their backyard, but hey, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna enjoy every moment of it. And I really hope that you'll subscribe and come along with me as we go through this process. but also that you'll get a lot of inspiration for your own garden. Maybe it won't be this large of a project, or maybe this eccentric of a project, but it'll encourage you to use your imagination. And that is what I want to encourage you to do today, because this is definitely not a finished project. And you will have to use your imagination to just think of what we plan to do here. And I think it'll be kind of cool and exciting for you to see the process over the next few months. Here is the outside wall of the labyrinth. I decided to make these little jut-ins here so that I could put the 4 seasons. And eventually, like I said, this will all be ivy and other things growing up the wall, so you won't actually be able to see inside the labyrinth. This was the quickest way that I could figure out how to have a wall of green. Arborvitaes would not have worked here because the deer love them. So this is also a way to deter the deer from being able to get in here and eat flowers and plants. But again, arborvitaes grow fast, but they are like deer candy here, so would not have worked. Here's those giant doors that I was telling you guys about. And over here we have another lady from the 4 seasons. Above the double doors here is an arch, and I have a wood burner, so I want to eventually burn a saying or a quote above this walled garden labyrinth, but I'm not sure which one yet. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments section below. So let's take a look inside. Can you imagine walking into here as a child? This would have been a dream come true for me when I was a kid, and I think getting in touch with my inner child has definitely been a part of this project. So the first thing you see when you walk in is, well, you can see a wall and you can choose which way you go, left or right. But first, there is a garden room here to the right, which I have started creating beds for already. And this will, have bunches of flowers and plants in here. And then there's this spot over here where we created the jut in for the 4 seasons, the 4-season statuary. And so we've got these really unique spots inside this garden. And my thought here is that I would do one of those moss chairs. Have you ever seen those? They're so cool. I just thought that would look really neat right there. So as we go farther into the labyrinth, now use your imagination, all of these walls are going to actually be green. We're going to come through a big room. Now you will see that we've been working on doing top caps on all of the walls, but they aren't quite done yet. This is quite a huge space, and so you will see, like here, it doesn't look as finished, but over there, finished. So again, we're still working on this space. This center part, I'm really excited about, because as soon as we finish the top caps here, this is the room we're going to start working on first. Imagine large pillars or stanchions in this room. Over the top, there'll be sort of like an arbor in this room, and then wisteria growing over the entire top of this room. In the center will be a sizable water feature, and then I'm planning on putting like a swing in here and some furniture so you could sit and hang out. But can you imagine this entire space being covered by wisteria? And I already started planting some. Unfortunately, the back door wasn't on when I planted this last year, and the deer did come in and chomp, chomp, chomp. But you can see how far up it grew already. So that's pretty exciting. Off of this main room, there's several other smaller rooms. So here's a little room. Again, it doesn't have any garden beds in it yet, but you can see that It's kind of like a choose your own adventure in here. Now we're back to the main room. You can see I planted some things here already and started a bed there. And so, you know, the lattice has its ups and downs. Doing lattice in here was the fastest way for us to create this, but obviously our land actually slants down. So there's going to be some spots where it's maybe a little uneven, and that's where the stone comes in. And you'll see when we stack on the inside, you won't even see any uneven lattice. And then also when we grow up the ivy and other things, you won't see that either. I'm not sure what this says. What did this... Oh, so this is some honeysuckle that I planted. Honeysuckle will take over. So unless you want it to grow all over, which I do, be careful where you plant that. And I think these are all honeysuckles. Again, I started to place beds in here just to see how I wanted it to be. And I think I'm going to have this curve around like that and kind of follow that pattern. And I have another statuary in here. You could go out to the main room again. I hope you're using your imaginations because you definitely need to have one, especially with eccentric and large projects. If you lose your vision, yeah, it's going to be hard to keep going. And you can see the new spots. This is a huge like back door, and this actually leads out to our acre pond, so that's kind of cool. But this is the room I was telling you about. This is where my husband's also been working, obviously, but this is where all of the fruit trees are. So last year we planted peaches, cherries, and apples in here, and there's still more rooms after this. There's also a room around the corner, and back in that corner there's blueberry bushes. We're going to be planting some more. So I don't want to show you guys everything because I feel like then it'll give away every bit of it, but there is an actual secret room in here, and I'm going to wait till the very last video when everything is completed to show you how to get into the secret room, because I think that'll be really neat when it's all said and done to show you guys that. And then of course there's another room back in here. So there's like so many little hidden spaces and places. My son and I have played hide and seek in this space so many times. He loves coming in here. So there is your introduction to one of the largest projects we're going to be doing this gardening season. Yes, it's very eccentric, but I love it, and I think it's going to be so magical and cool when it's finished. I have the vision in my mind of how beautiful these green walls are going to be. You're going to walk in and it's going to feel like just magical. I'm really excited about it. And of course there's going to be lots of flowers planted in here, and then in the very center of the labyrinth there's going to be the wisteria hanging down in bloom with the water feature underneath. It is just, I think, going to be magnificent when it's done. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. So please, once you guys subscribe and follow along, there's going to be lots of other things we do too, in the greenhouse and in the sunken garden. We're about to plant up our topiaries, boxwoods for our topiary garden. So there's a lot going on here, but I just think this project, will be fun to share. And so I want to bring you guys along. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.